Kavilka. I'd like to bring forward in a block, unless there are objections, all the items in section 5. Section 501, the AP Calculus Workshop, a unanticipated cost reimbursement. 5.02 is the Mill Creek High School, or McDowell High School spring activity schedule. 5.03, we made a revision to the 2016-17 school district calendar. 5.04, the robotics field trip, a change of location from College Park, Maryland to Cincinnati, Ohio. 5.05, the new high school course called Science in the Community. 5.06, Teachers College Reading and Writing Project, trip to Columbia University, March 19th and 20th. A course name change from the Algebra 1 Bridge course, we're going to change that to the Keystone Algebra course. A contract for the Carnegie Science Center. A service agreement with the Dr. Gertrude Barber Center. 5.10, the Mill Creek Township School District Special Education Plan Report. 5.11, the Mill Creek Township School District 339 K-12 Comprehensive Guidance Plan for 2015 and 16. 5.12, Northwest Tri-County IU contract for the implementation of Individuals with Disabilities Act Part B. And lastly, 5.13, Special Olympics Pennsylvania Memorandum of Understanding. I'd like to bring forward these for a vote, and I'll make a motion.
Second.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Osford. Personnel and Policy Committee, Mrs. McClintock.
I'd like to bring 6.01, 6.02, 6.03, and 6.04 forward as a block for voting. 6.01 is policy 113.4, confidentiality of special education student information. 6.02, policy 216, student records, final reading. 6.03, policy 229, student fundraising, final reading. And 6.04, policy 824, maintaining professional adult student boundaries, final reading. Those four is a block, and then the other two will talk. So make a motion.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? That was through 604 currently, correct?
Right.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
For 6.05, we have had a couple additions. Dr. Desh, would you like to address those?
Sure. We discussed this before. From time to time, we have a couple of situations where we have interviews that are in process that we don't have a name to bring forward to the board meeting. You'll find those on your agenda highlighted in gray or in yellow. And those are the positions we bring forward in addition tonight.
The reason for the Title I transfer from Bell Valley to Grandview, is that for an influx? Do we have more students than Title I program in one building over the other?
We actually had a Title I teacher at Grandview who resigned to a full-time position as a teacher in another school,
Okay.
in a parochial school. So we had an opening there in that teacher.
Okay.
And so I'd like to bring,
Dr. Didish,
Yes.
I had a question during the committee of the whole, and I think it was brought up by another board member. Why are we paying a temporary teacher the same wage as a teacher that's in the union on a temporary basis?
That is part of the union contract, the teacher's agreement. And what it says is that after 45 days of continual substitute service in one location or one area, that teacher then becomes part of the Mill Creek School District in terms of pay and benefits.
Okay, but you're starting off the temporary teacher, the substitute, at the level of a union salary, rate, etc.
No, I don't think that's correct. They started out as a sub.
Well, explain it, please.
Day-to-day subbing, they get the day-to-day sub rate. When they get to 45 days of service in one location or one area of service, they then become what's called a letter of appointment position, and that's when we pay them that beginning teacher salary.
Yeah, so they technically start out as a sub, and they'll come in as substitute. And if they're here for a certain amount of days, the 45 days,
45 days.
they're here 45 days, then they would be put on that first step.
So the 46th day, and for the remainder of that time period.
Okay. What I would, again, present to the board and Mr. Hall and Dr. Dedish is let's look at that. Because if you're hiring a temporary teacher, there are temporary teachers in the Erie School District and other districts throughout the Commonwealth. What happens is that you go for an extended period of time, and that's costly. That is costly. And we're looking at every dollar in our budget. Just to review it, and I'm just asking to look at it, what is the cost factor, how much money can we save?
And can I just share, while that may be a cost-saving strategy to use perhaps multiple temporary subs, the one thing we want to be reminded is that we are looking for continuity of student care. And it is much more advantageous for a group of students to be working with, a singular teacher who knows their students, certainly develops relationships with them, is able to attend to their instructional needs versus rotating folks in and out. So while there may be a cost advantage, there are certainly disadvantages that I would say we need to weigh as well on the student side.
Oh, and I agree with you. It's mostly my wife just retired in the Erie School District. She substituted in the Erie School District for something like 2.5, 3 years, and she did not get a union wage. We also have a daughter that's a teacher, and ditto for our daughter. So there needs to be an addressing of that issue for the future. And that's all I'm suggesting.
Right,
Thank you.
and just to clarify, because I was in Erie City for 11 years before coming to Mill Creek, they have a different structure. So their temporary employment is for 2 years for their folks who start there before they move into a different kind of situation. So it's a different structure, a different contract, a different school district.
Right.
But thank you.
I'd like to just add a quick footnote. I 100% agree on the continuity, but to the letter of the contract, you could employ a substitute through Kelly Services for 44 days, ask them to take 1 day off, put another teacher in there for 1 day, bring them back on, and you have not worked in 45 days straight. That's the way you can get around it. And then that person could serve another 44 days. So, I'm sorry?
I don't think that, one reason that it is attractive is that continuity keeps them there. If you do that to them, they probably won't come back.
But that's just the way you would get around it, so there is obviously a way around it.
I did, during our policy and personnel meeting, we talked about this because I did ask about going into the letter of appointment. This is not something, if you think about it, we get subs frequently because teachers get sick or they have an emergency, whatnot. We don't have a lot of letters of appointment. This is not an issue that is, it's not like every day we're running up we're enacting letters of appointment. So this is, it does occur. It is not something, and of course you want to look at all budgetary issues when we're as strapped as we are, although we're moving in the right direction. But this is not something that I found out. This is something that is not happening on a daily basis. So sure, we can look at it, but I don't want people to walk out of here thinking that we are employing letter of appointment teachers at the contracted rate. So there, we did discuss this.
Thank you.
Okay, so looking for a motion for 6.
I'm not done yet. Bringing forward as a block 6.05 and 6.06, which is our outside contract for J.S. Wilson String Orchestra. Make a motion now.
Okay, now we're looking for a motion. Okay, a second. And now I'd like to just add one thing for discussion. This is just a point.